With a few exceptions, Republicans have made clear that they're willing to excuse the behavior of both former President Donald Trump and Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. For more on this, it's time for a closer look. Until now, it's been very clear to me that Donald Trump should face every legal consequence imaginable for trying to overthrow the United States government. He should be impeached, convicted, and barred from ever holding office again. His property should be seized, his golf courses should be turned into publicly protected wetlands, and his namesake son should be banished to the woods to live among the only creatures who truly understand him, the stumps. King of the stumps! But then Republican Senator Lindsey Graham made a threat so chilling, so harrowing, that I had to reconsider my position. If Democrats choose to move forward and call witnesses, Graham said he'd have no choice but to do something unthinkable: investigate what happened.
To my Democratic colleagues, if you vote to call one witness, none were called in the House, get ready for a long trial. If you open up that can of worms, we'll want the FBI to come in and tell us about how people actually pre-planned these attacks and what happened with the security footprint at the Capitol. You open up Pandora's box if you call one witness.
Yeah, because famously, when Pandora opened her box, that's what came out: useful information. You hear him, Democrats? Lindsey Graham is threatening to make your life hell by finding out exactly what happened and then making those things public. Ooh, you're not going to like that, Democrats. Public accountability for Donald Trump and his accomplices? I mean, what's next? Witnesses? Evidence? Consequences? You better be careful, Democrats, or I'll have no choice but to get to the bottom of what Donald Trump did and, if necessary, convict him. Is that what you want? Donald Trump shuffling off to prison in leg irons, never to be seen again? Oh, you'll rue the day, Democrats. What's that, Meemaw? I'm making a fool of myself? The only fool here is you, Meemaw. I heard you got caught shoplifting at the A&P again. Meemaw! Why don't you close that dang music box and quit smearing your lipstick with your thumb? Also, it's so mind-boggling and bewildering that Graham thinks proving the attack was pre-planned somehow gets Trump off the hook. It's like getting caught standing over a dead body holding a knife saying, "Officer, you don't understand, I've had this knife for years." It would actually be very useful to have an in-depth trial where every aspect of the insurrection is investigated in full view of the public, because every day we learn more about the events leading up to it, including details of Trump's concerted months-long effort to get the results of the election overturned. This week, Axios reported stunning new details about what they call the craziest meeting of the Trump presidency, which is saying a lot, given he's also met with Ted Nugent, Sarah Palin, Kanye West, and a can of uncooked beans. Do you know anything about voter fraud beans? See, you do. See, what about you, adobo seasonings? All right. Trump met with a group of unhinged conspiracy theorists, including Michael Flynn, who has called for Trump to use the military to seize voting machines and rerun the election, effectively installing himself as a military dictator. And Sidney Powell, the lawyer who faces $1.3 billion defamation suit for claiming the election was rigged as part of an international communist plot, including the late Venezuelan President Hugo Chavez, and who always looks like she just got done taking a sledgehammer to James Caan's legs. At one point during this meeting, Powell proposed declaring a national security emergency, granting her and her cabal top-secret security clearances, and using the U.S. government to seize Dominion's voting machines. A White House aide replied, "Hold on a minute, Sidney. You're part of the Rudy team, right? Is your theory that the Democrats got together and changed the rules, or is it that there was foreign interference in our election?" Powell replied, "It's foreign interference. Rudy hasn't understood what this case is about until just now." You know you're far gone when even Rudy hasn't caught up to your insanity yet. It's like being too abstract for Picasso. "Dolly, I'm all for having fun, but clocks don't bounce, my man." Although the idea that Rudy doesn't know what the case is about would not surprise me. I'm sure walking Rudy through a case is like watching Inception with your grandpa. A dream within a dream. Okay, fancy pants. Wake me up when the Allies start bombing the Nazis. That's my kind of movie. So that's how insane this meeting was. Too insane for Rudy Giuliani. A third insane person in the meeting was Patrick Byrne, the former CEO of Overstock.com, because why not? They got MyPillow, Overstock. All they need now to complete the roster of business all-stars is the CFO of Hollywood Video and an actively on-fire Samsung Galaxy. Nope. All you need to know for this next part is that Byrne got into a heated confrontation with a White House official named Eric Hirschman. The White House counsel, Pat Cipollone, was also in the room. Byrne kept attacking the senior White House staff in front of Trump. "They've already abandoned you," he told the president aggressively, periodically during the meeting, Flynn or Byrne challenged Trump's top staff, portraying them as disloyal. At one point, with Flynn shouting, Byrne raised his hand to talk. He stood up and turned around to face Hirschman. "You're a quitter," he said. "You've been interfering with everything. You've been cutting us off." "Do you even know who the I am, you idiot?" Hirschman snapped. "Yeah, you're Patrick Cipollone," Byrne said. "Wrong. Wrong, you idiot." The best and the brightest, folks. These guys want everyone to have voter ID, but they don't even know the ID of the person they're talking to. I can't believe I'm saying this, but if Rudy had been there for that part of the meeting, his presence would have actually raised the average IQ level. Though he would have probably also yelled, "Do you know who I am?" and sincerely meant the question. "Do you know who I am? Do you know where I am? In the month, please. I keep my name stitched in my suit, but this is a Lona jacket from Del Frisco's. Now I know how Scrooge felt confused." I'm not Hugo Boss, am I? Trump is gone, but that doesn't mean we can just forget about the crimes he committed, the calamities he unleashed, and the forces he exposed, because those forces are at the very heart of the modern Republican Party and will be going forward, as evidenced by Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Greene has, among other things, claimed school shootings were staged, suggested that Nancy Pelosi should be executed for treason, and said Muslims shouldn't serve in government, and yet GOP leaders in the House have refused to sanction her, forcing Democrats to move forward with the resolution revoking her committee assignments. Others have brushed the controversy aside. For example, Lindsey Graham would not condemn Greene on Tuesday, arguing before he can judge, he wants to know what the facts are. Graham suggested without any evidence to the contrary that he wants to make sure the postings on social media of Greenes that are under scrutiny are accurate and haven't been manipulated. When a reporter followed up that several of the Congresswoman's comments are in video, Graham replied, "She'll have to tell me, is it accurate? Oh, sure, take her word for it." Congresswoman Greene assured me that while the posts were on her Facebook page, it's only because Bill Gates gave her password to the ghost of Hugo Chavez, and that's good enough for me. Mima, are you satisfied? Mima, I will help you with your corset, but I'm telling you, there is no colonel coming over tonight. Mima, that was a movie we watched. Not that one, Peepaw, that was Inception. You too. But the dumbest excuse for refusing to condemn Greene came from newly minted Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville, who was apparently as dumb as his name. He sounds like a cartoon jar of mayonnaise who tries to kidnap the VeggieTales. Tuberville told CNN he hadn't seen Greene's post because, and this is real, a real excuse, the weather's been bad. I haven't even looked at what all she's done. I'd have to hold back a statement on that. Travel in this weather, it's been a little rough looking at any news or whatever. Look, I really don't want to repeat any negative stereotypes about the South, but you're not doing Alabama any favors when, as a senator, you claim you can't watch the news because of the weather. I mean, do you still have rabbit ears in your TV? I haven't looked at what she's done because the gossipy polecat who tells me the news has been hibernating. Also, I love when these dopes can't even get to the finish line on their own bullshit and then just give up at the end and say whatever. I meant to look at my phone, but the battery was dead. Or I dropped it in the toilet, or whatever. But I have to say the most vile defense of Greene I saw today came from Republicans and Fox News, which repeatedly tried to equate her with Minnesota Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, including this comment from Bill Hemmer.
What she's doing is of a whole different kettle of fish.
One might be weird and kooky, Josh. The other is seen as racist.
Let's see. One wants Medicare for all, and the other thinks a Jewish space laser starts wildfires. Seriously, what's wrong with you? There's no equivalence, and any attempt to create one is disgusting and racist. Greene has refused to apologize, despite sharing anti-Muslim and anti-Semitic posts, questioning whether a plane really crashed into the Pentagon on 9/11, suggesting the school shootings were fake, that Nancy Pelosi should be executed, that Barack Obama is a secret Muslim, that Muslims shouldn't be allowed to serve at all in the government, and once again, that a Jewish space laser starts wildfires. That's way beyond weird and kooky. She's not a member of the Addams family unless Uncle Fester believed that a Jewish space laser starts wildfire. She's not your crunchy aunt who's into Reiki and crystals and sews birds onto all her sweaters. Before we sit down for Thanksgiving dinner, allow me to sage the room and cleanse our auras. Namaste. Connie, your boob is out. Aunt Connie, your boob's, it's in the casserole. This is the bad faith bull that right-wing media is full of because they have nothing else. It's a movement that is fully radicalized against pluralistic, multiracial democracy, and now the right-wing media is cannibalizing itself as they compete to appeal to the far-right fringe. There's no better example of that than what happened on Newsmax, which has tried to outflank Fox News on the far right. They invited on the MyPillow guy, who you might remember has also claimed the election was hacked by China and walked into the Oval Office for a meeting with Trump holding notes that said martial law on them. Newsmax was just trying to get Lindell to complain about cancel culture, not repeat his election fraud lies. But then this happened.
What happened with your Twitter account and the company page?
Well, first mine was taken down because we have all the election fraud with these Dominion machines. We have 100% proof. And then when they took it down about 3 weeks ago, and then I put it back up, my personal, it was a
Mike, thank you very much. Mike, you're talking about machines that we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those kinds of allegations. We wanted to talk to you about canceling culture, if you will. We don't want to relitigate the allegations that you're making, Mike. Could you make an argument that this could be a temporary banning rather than permanent?
No, I want it to be a permanent because you know what? They did this because I'm revealing all the evidence on Friday of all the election fraud with these machines. So I'm sorry if you think it's not
Mike,
real.
can I ask our producers, can we get out of here, please? I don't want to have to keep going over this.
Actually,
we at Newsmax have not been able to verify any of those allegations that you're...
Mike, hold on a second. Everybody hold on a second. Mike, hold on 1 second. Let's talk a little bit.
Oh, my pillow. Usually you see the guest storm off, but never the anchor. Where do you even go after that? That's like trying to storm out of a meeting in your own office. This is bull, and I hate this job, and I quit. Could you guys maybe take this meeting down to the conference room? Also, I gotta ask, does MyPillow actually work? Because this guy looks like he hasn't slept in a year. Is MyPillow just a bag full of rats? You need to sleep, Mike. Who can sleep with all that infernal scratching? He always looks like he was just chased by the bears. Also, this segment is so revealing because instead of focusing on the actual content of what Lindell is supposedly being canceled for, they just want him to say the words cancel culture and he won't go along. It shows how empty their cancel culture talking points are. They complain that free speech is being suppressed, and then once he starts saying something they don't like, they try to suppress his speech. It's like taking your toddler to an adult dinner party and saying to him, hey, remember, you say thank you, you say please, and that's it, okay? And then the second you walk in the door, he immediately shouts, Mommy caught Daddy following the babysitter on Instagram. We are facing multiple simultaneous crises that have created misery and suffering for millions of Americans, with a botched vaccine rollout, an economic crash, and poverty and child hunger on the rise. We need a political system that can respond urgently to those crises. Instead, we have one political party radicalizing against democracy, siding with seditionists and bigots. It's almost as if, in a desperate bid for power at any cost, the GOP was willing to
Open up Pandora's box.
This has been A Closer Look. God's Love We Deliver cooks and brings over 2 million meals a year to men, women, and children living with HIV, AIDS, cancer, and other serious illnesses, and they need your help now more than ever. If you're watching this online, you can hit the donate button. Stay safe, wash your hands, wear a mask. We love you.